6 years ago, I had an incident on my wedding day. My former fiance abandoned me and ran away with his other girlfriend. Turns out she was pregnant. That image and details are forever engraved in my mind, and I'll never forget how I felt that day. This was truly a turning point in my life. My family has always been there for me, so I kept close to them. My younger sister's engaged, and her wedding will be in a few months. She's struggling with money, so I decided to help her and her fiance and pay for the wedding dress. This allowed her to buy her dream wedding gown, which cost $7,000. It's a lot for a dress, but she literally cried because she wanted it. This happened a few days before we agreed to go buy the dress. We ate dinner at my parents' home, and my cousin and aunt were there. My aunt was asking my sister about the wedding. My sister said that everything was going according to plan, and then casually laughed and said, "Let's just hope he won't run away with the pregnant mistress or something on our wedding day." I was blown away completely. She laughed and Aunt laughed too, as if this was a joke. She was basically mocking what happened to me at my wedding. It happened so fast that I got up and started screaming at her, calling her an idiot. My parents asked me to take it easy, and she said it was a joke, and she didn't think I'd react so intensely. My aunt remained seated, and my cousin asked me to calm down and drink some water. But I grabbed my stuff, and as I was getting ready, I told my sister she was getting $0 for her dream wedding dress. Then I walked out. I heard the louder commotion as I walked, and my dad and cousin followed me outside, trying to talk, but I asked to be left alone. My dad and I spoke. He said I was too harsh on my sister over a joke, and that I know this is how she is with her dark humor. They said she's been crying after I decided to back out of helping her, and said that this would ruin her wedding. They wanted me to reconsider my decision, since it might damage my relationship with my sister, but I refused. Am I the idiot? Edit. My aunt usually brings up what happened from time to time and says stuff like, "If what didn't happen, you would have had at least 2 kids by now." Or, "Do you know what day it is? Your wedding anniversary." It's harsh, but she stopped doing it anymore. Maybe my sister's being influenced by her, but still, it hurt as much and more coming from my own sister. This is how she is with her dark sense of humor? Give me a break. She seriously lacks self-awareness and simple respect for you. Charged remarks come with charged consequences. Your sister threw the most traumatic experience of your life in your face and laughed about it. Tell her that in 10 years, if she's matured and can sincerely apologize, you might forgive her, and you might consider a nice anniversary gift if the marriage lasts that long. You are not the idiot. To add to this, OP, take that $7,000 and buy yourself a nice little vacation. Laugh all the way from the airport to your hotel room. Also, if your sister's struggling for money, spending $7,000 on a dress she'll wear for a few hours is ridiculous. That kind of decision-making is likely why she's struggling. Financial dumpster fire. Honestly, getting something ridiculously expensive just because someone else is paying just reeks of entitlement. I know it was the dream dress before OP offered to pay, but I could never accept such a grand gesture unless the person was obscenely wealthy. And why would she have been looking at dresses so far out of her budget to begin with? The fact that she's upset about her dress and not how badly she hurt her sister says it all. What a narcissist. The aunt can cough up the $7,000. I also love how the dad tries to guilt OP that she might be ruining the relationship with her sister while ignoring the sweet little sis that fired the first shot. Shouldn't dad be telling the little sister she was cruel and potentially ruining her relationship with OP? Why so one-sided? OP, screw them. This was a horribly hard thing to happen to you. You're allowed to grieve, and you're allowed to never give a dime to that sister of yours. Let her get married in a garbage bag for all I care. I, 32 female, have been with my husband, Daniel, for a little over 6 years now. He has a tween son, Noah, with his late wife, Ashley. Dan and I met 2 years after Ashley died. We started out as friends and became more over time. We didn't rush anything and gave Noah time to get used to me being in his life. He and I have always gotten along well, so over time we married and had 2 little ones of our own together. Noah sees his maternal family semi-regularly. They live about 2 hours from us, but always invite him to every party and gathering. Whether it's his grandparents or one of his aunts or uncles, he's invited along to join them and his cousins for outings and stuff. Dan and Ashley's family were never super close, but seem to get along, while her family and I are civil, but not at all close. Noah loves his family and seeing them, so that's the main thing. Noah doesn't call me mom or refer to me as his mom to others. I'm his stepmom. That has never been a problem for us. However, some have questioned why Noah wouldn't have naturally started calling me mom over time or letting it slip sometimes. I've never seen it as a big deal. One of the people who has commented on it several times is my mother-in-law. She asked me if I'd ever asked him to call me mom or told him that I would like him to. I always told her I didn't ask or tell him to because it should be his choice, on his terms, not on mine. She accepted that, or told me she did anyway, and we didn't hear about it for years. Then a couple of weeks ago, I was dropping something off at mother-in-law's house, and mother-in-law told Noah to give this to your mom because I had my hands full. He told her I wasn't his mom, I was his stepmom. She looked for me to correct him, but I said nothing. She told him that stepmoms are moms too. He said that I was Kaya and Dex's mom, my kids, and I was his stepmom because he had another mom. I saw mother-in-law getting ready to debate him over this, so I moved things along, and we left. Mother-in-law told my husband what happened, and he was asking her why it was a big enough deal to bring up. She told him I should have said something to Noah for correcting her or stopped him from doing it at least. He said that it seemed like a bad idea and a perfect way to start a push on his boundaries. She told me I was rude to her and I was letting Noah exclude himself from the family. She said he'd be happier if I took the step out of the equation. Am I the idiot for how I handled this? Not the idiot. Your stepson is perfectly allowed to state his views on who his parents are. However, your mother-in-law sounds like an entitled boomer who thinks her opinions are more important than this kid's self-identity. You sound like you're doing an amazing job at this stepmom gig, by the way. He'll look back at this fondly, knowing that you supported him and found his views and feelings valuable. You are a selfless, generous, and caring person, and the world needs more people just like you. OP, your mother-in-law made a fool of herself by stepping in to fix something that wasn't broken, presuming to parent a kid who's not her kid, and trying to triangulate by complaining to your husband when her attempts went sideways. None of those actions ended well for her. Thank goodness for calm and solid boundaries. We electrify the top strand when cows are wrecking wire fences by leaning on them. When a mother-in-law is stomping boundaries, we let our husband tell their mother to knock it off, or there will be world-changing consequences. Now would be a perfect time for your hubby to do that, with some voltage. I'm glad Noah has you in his life. You did nothing wrong, and don't you dare apologize to that cow. Mother-in-law. I, 37 male, and my wife, 36, have 2 kids, kindergartner and preteen girls. My wife is pregnant with our 3rd now. She's 20 weeks pregnant. So my daughters have never been picky about their food, since I used to cook all meals and never introduced them to junk food. However, about 2 months back, I was assigned a new project at work and started working long hours, 70 per week, so I've been unable to cook as often now. I wanted to hire a cook because my wife was having some severe pregnancy symptoms, but my wife said she wanted to try cooking for our kids, and she also didn't like the idea of a stranger at our house. I agreed to her idea, since she suggested it herself. For the first month or so, she cooked diligently for the kids and both of us. However, after that, she reduced the quality of the meals. What I mean is she started making easy-to-cook foods for the kids. She also started giving them junk food as snacks, so they wouldn't be hungry for real meals. I chalked it up to her pregnancy nausea for the first few weeks. Still, last week, when I prepared an elaborate meal for the family on Sunday, the kids refused to touch the food because they wanted the usual buttered noodles. So I told my wife that I'd be cooking all the meals from now onwards because the kids are getting spoiled from eating junk food all the time. She got mad at me and said that she was trying her hardest and I should be more appreciative. I told her no one forced her to cook, and I had already suggested hiring a cook, but she was the one who refused. She said that I didn't understand her discomfort with having a cook and that hiring one was out of the question. She also told me that I can cook all the meals if I think feeding the kids healthy food is so easy. I told her that I would do just that. That very night, I stayed up making different kinds of healthy food options for the week. Fruit salad, chicken stir fry, pasta sauce with veggies, mushroom, and tomatoes, then blended, cauliflower soup, and banana bread. I froze everything so they could be reheated during the week. I've just reheated food throughout the week and gave it to the kids. Since they only want noodles, I add the sauce and chicken stir fry to the noodles, along with the grated cheese. They just eat it without detecting any veggies in it. For their school lunches, I pack ham and cheese or tuna and chicken sandwiches the night before, along with fruit salad and chocolate milk. They get a slice of banana bread for after-school snack, sandwiches and soup for dinner for me and my wife. My wife told me the food tastes good, but it's stale food, so she thinks it's the same as what she used to cook for the family. I told her at least I was putting effort into the meals, unlike her, who was using the kids' picky behavior as an excuse to be lazy. She got mad at me and said that she wasn't being lazy and that the kids really were picky. Now she's not speaking to me for the past 2 days. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You're doing a good thing for your kids and for your wife. Frozen isn't stale. She just said that because she feels guilty for not putting in the effort herself. Don't worry about it. She's having a hard pregnancy. Good job, Dad. This is a huge effort, and you're setting your kids up for healthy eating habits in the future. Seems like everyone's the idiot here. You seem to be too over the top about making sure they have zero junk food. All that'll lead to is problems in the future. Your wife is pregnant and probably tired, so she doesn't have the energy to cook, even though she wants to cook healthy meals and is coming across as unappreciative of what you're doing. Maybe split the load, half prepped by you and the rest cooked by her. It's all about balance. He called his pregnant, nauseous wife, who spends all day looking after 2 kids, lazy? He's the idiot. She's not being unreasonable because of her hormones. She doesn't want to deal with a stranger in her house, on top of everything she's dealing with. She's pregnant and vulnerable, and OP is brushing her off. I've 34 male, been with my husband, 33, for 8 years. We have a toddler daughter and own a house in the country together. Earlier this past week, I hung out with my siblings to plan a barbecue and just catch up. My sister brought up this TikTok trend where people describe their partner's beige flag, a weird quirk that makes you pause for a bit and then move on with the relationship. We were all sharing our partner's little quirks, and I mentioned what I felt was my husband's. Every night, the last thing he does before going to bed is a perimeter check. He literally gets out of bed with a flashlight and walks the tree line around our property, looking for anything out of the ordinary. If he doesn't do it, he won't sleep until he does. He even does it at hotels when we're on vacation. I find it super endearing. It's one of the ways he shows his love for me and our daughter. We hosted a barbecue for our families yesterday. My husband was meandering around, checking to ensure the trash was put away properly, as our area sometimes has bears. My brother-in-law made a mean comment to him about doing a perimeter check early in the day, and I think it embarrassed my husband a bit. He can be very shy, which just put him out a bit. I chewed my brother-in-law out for being an idiot. Last night, I apologized to my husband for my brother-in-law's behavior and passed along an apology from my sister. My husband was still pretty upset and said that that was his private thing he does, and he didn't think it was right of me to have told my siblings. He even called it mean for me to have done it. I said I didn't think it was a big deal, especially when he does it in full view of our neighbors and strangers when we're on vacation. I didn't say it to embarrass him. I was sharing something I love about him. He didn't accept that and said he didn't want to discuss it. Things were tense over breakfast this morning, and when he came home, he said he was still feeling upset with me and wanted some time to himself. I feel like he's overreacting, but I also don't keep many things private, so I don't know how it feels to be this guarded. Am I the idiot for telling my siblings about my husband's beige flag? You are the idiot for thinking he's overreacting. You told the story for laughs, and then people laughed. You made a joke at your husband's expense, behind his back, and then chewed at your brother-in-law for doing the exact same thing, only to his face. You knew it was a beige flag and not a green one because you said so. Now you're angry he's a bit upset? You made fun of your husband, then got mad when other people did the same, then got mad that your husband got mad. Great. Another crappy trend from TikTok mocking a partner just to score giggles from other people. Yay, social media. Destroying relationships and morals the world around. I'm gonna say not the idiot. It's not something he ever told you was private. And how were you supposed to know your brother-in-law would bring it up later on? He's sensitive about it, but I don't think you did anything wrong. Also, everyone needs to stop acting like they've never poked fun at a partner with your friends and family. I, nearly adult male, have been taking my brother, teen, with me for runs. We tend to go at 6:30 in the morning, and it's been really relaxing. My brother and I have gotten along much better as a result, and I've gotten to know my brother a lot better. The problem is my younger sister, young teen, wants to join as well. But she's an absolute brat in terms of personality. She always snitches on my brother and me, and she's treated like the golden child by our parents. She's also annoying and has low tolerance and patience for anything difficult. Plus, I don't want to have to babysit a kid and run simultaneously. My sister started waking up at 6:30 to try and catch us, and she would usually involve our parents. So for about a week, she came running with us. It was pretty bad. She didn't know anything about proper placing or running form or mechanics, and didn't really want to know how to expend the least amount of energy with foot placement. She would get mad at us for running for so long, and would get annoyed if we talked, since it disturbed her rhythm. I finally got tired of this, and told my brother that we'll start early. For the next couple of weeks, we left at 4:30ish, and just told our sister that we didn't want to run anymore, so she stopped waking up at 6:30. But now my brother's feeling bad and saying that maybe we shouldn't have lied and we should have told her up front she's not welcome. But I didn't really want to have that kind of conversation. You are the idiot, but it's because you didn't actually communicate with your sister. She's the youngest and she likes you guys. She's literally willing to try and do something she has little to no experience in just to spend some time with you guys. She's your sister. And if you really want to isolate her from you and your brother, that's your prerogative. Do as you like, but consider how that'll impact your relationship with her and your brother. Siblings don't automatically love each other because they're related. That's a myth. All relationships take work and effort. Yeah, all I can think about is how a young teen is getting up at 6:30 in the morning just to run with you guys. To me, it seems like she pretty obviously wants to bond with you. I also hope that during your 4 a.m. runs, you guys are wearing bright clothes or using lights. It's still pretty dark out, and you could be putting yourselves in danger. I think OP's not the idiot. I get the people saying that this should have been a conversation with your sister, but this seems like a bigger issue stemming from your parents and their favoritism. It sounds like you're ignoring her instead of calling her out in order to keep the peace in your family. The damaged family dynamic isn't your responsibility to solve.